What if everything you call reality is only a small fraction of the truth? What if the solid ground beneath your feet, the time on the clock, and the story you believe about yourself are all confined to a limited dimension, while parts of you are already existing beyond it? Most people think of life as a three-dimensional prison: length, width, height, and the ticking of time. But here is the secret. You may already be living in higher dimensions without realizing it. The signs are around you, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to notice. This is not just mystical speculation. For centuries, spiritual traditions, philosophers, and even modern scientists have pointed to realities beyond the physical. Some call it the astral plane. Some call it the quantum field. Some call it higher consciousness. All are describing the same truth. A human being is not bound to 3D reality. When we speak of higher dimensions, the first mistake most people make is to imagine them as distant, floating places somewhere above the clouds, or as exotic realms only accessible after death. But the deeper truth is far more intimate and shocking. Higher dimensions are not elsewhere. They are here, layered within this very moment, invisible to the ordinary senses, yet influencing everything you see, feel, and think. Think of reality as a spectrum of light. The human eye can only see a narrow band, what we call visible light. Yet beyond that band, ultraviolet and infrared light exist, undetected without special instruments. In the same way, three-dimensional perception is only a narrow slice of existence. We see surfaces, shapes, and movement through space and time. But just beyond the range of our senses, higher dimensions are present, structuring reality, carrying information, and shaping the unfolding of events. Ancient traditions hinted at this in their own symbolic languages. The Vedic seers of India described 7 lokas, planes of existence beyond the physical. The mystics of Kabbalah spoke of the tree of life, a multidimensional map of creation, where each sphere represented a deeper reality overlapping with the material world. The Gnostics whispered of hidden realms of light that coexisted with the world of matter, accessible only to those who awakened inner sight. Even modern physics echoes these whispers. Quantum theory describes invisible fields where particles exist in superposition, as if multiple realities overlap until consciousness interacts with them. String theory suggests that dimensions beyond the 3 we know may actually shape the very fabric of the universe, curled up tightly, yet fundamental to existence. While scientists describe it with mathematics, mystics describe it with visions. But they are both pointing towards the same mystery. Reality is layered, and the third dimension is only one of many flaws in the cosmic structure. Now consider your own experience. You walk through your day believing you inhabit solid space and linear time. Yet the laws of 3D cannot explain the subtler things you have lived. That strange alignment when you think of someone, and they call you at that exact moment. That dream you had years ago that later unfolds in precise detail in waking life. That sudden intuitive nudge that saves you from danger. These experiences are not products of coincidence. They are leakages from higher dimensions into your everyday awareness. To understand this, imagine a 2-dimensional world, a flat plane where beings can only move forward, backward, left, or right. If a 3-dimensional object, like a sphere, passed through their world, they would only see slices of it appear and disappear, never comprehending the whole. To them, it would look like a miracle. To us, it is simply the limitation of their perspective. In the same way, when the higher dimensions intersect with our 3D world, we perceive only fragments, a synchronicity, a vision, a sense of déjà vu. What feels miraculous is simply the limit of our perception. Mystics, sages, and spiritual teachers have always tried to guide humanity towards this realization. You are not only living in a 3-dimensional stage, you are moving through a theater of shadows, while the greater light of reality remains hidden behind the curtains. The purpose of awakening is not to reject the stage, but to recognize the layers of reality beyond it, and to live in harmony with them. When you begin to sense this, ordinary life becomes extraordinary. A conversation with a stranger may no longer feel random, but part of a pattern orchestrated across dimensions. The challenges you face may no longer appear as accidents, but as precise lessons designed from beyond 3D to accelerate your growth. Even your emotions, which you once dismissed as fleeting feelings, may reveal themselves as signals from the unseen, energies vibrating through layers of consciousness. This is why spiritual awakening is often described as remembering. It is not about inventing something new, but about perceiving what was always here, hidden in plain sight. Higher dimensions are not distant heavens. They are woven into your very existence, guiding the invisible architecture of your life, waiting for you to look beyond the surface. And once you glimpse it, you can never fully return to the illusion that 3D reality is all there is. Here is where the mystery deepens. If higher dimensions exist, and if we are already brushing against them, then why does the ordinary human mind fail to see them clearly? Why do we live as if we are blind to the deeper layers of our own existence? The paradox is unsettling. You are constantly interacting with higher realities, yet your perception edits them out. It is not that the higher dimensions are distant, it is that the filters of your mind are designed to exclude them. Think about it. Your senses report only a narrow spectrum of reality. The human ear hears between 20 and 20,000 hertz. Yet infinite frequencies vibrate around you that you will never perceive. Your eyes detect only a tiny sliver of the electromagnetic field. Dogs smell what you cannot. Birds see ultraviolet light. Whales hear subsonic waves that span oceans. And if such limitations exist even in the physical realm, how much more do they blind us from dimensions that are not physical at all? This is why cracks in perception feel so jarring, because they briefly reveal what you are not supposed to see. Déjà vu, for instance. That sudden recognition of a moment, as if you have already lived it before. For the 3D-bound mind, this makes no sense. But from a higher perspective, déjà vu is simply a glitch in the linear filter of time. Perhaps your consciousness momentarily stepped outside of sequence, glimpsing a future that was already written, or remembering that time is not a line at all, but a spiral. Then there are dreams. Most people dismiss them as random byproducts of the brain, yet entire civilizations revered them as portals. In ancient Egypt, dreams were seen as windows into the duat, the otherworldly dimension beyond ordinary life. In the indigenous traditions of the Americas, dreams were considered equally real as waking life, sometimes more real. Modern psychology discovered that dreams are symbolic messages from the subconscious. But mysticism pushes further. They are rehearsals of possible futures, communications from higher realms, and sometimes direct visits to other dimensions. And what about synchronicities? Carl Jung described them as meaningful coincidences. The moment you think of a person, and they appear. The instant you decide to change your life, and the right book or teacher appears without effort. To the skeptic, these are random. But to the awakened, synchronicities are the fingerprints of higher dimensions arranging your path. They are the proof that you are not wandering randomly through life. You are walking within an invisible order, a hidden design that bends reality in response to consciousness. These strange clues, déjà vu, dreams, synchronicities, are not side effects. They are the cracks in the 3D illusion. They are the evidence that your soul is not confined to the physical timeline. And here lies the tension. If such signs appear so often, why do we doubt them? Why do we dismiss the very hints that could confirm we are multidimensional beings? The reason is both simple and unsettling. Because to accept them as real would shatter the foundations of the 3D worldview. If synchronicities are meaningful, then reality is not mechanical. If dreams connect us to other realms, then waking life is not the whole story. If déjà vu is real, then time itself is not what we thought. This is the loop of curiosity, the friction in your mind. You know these experiences are real, but you struggle to integrate them. And this very struggle is the doorway. For when you no longer dismiss the clues, when you begin to treat them as valid messages rather than accidents, the hidden dimensions begin to reveal themselves more openly. It is as if the universe waits for you to take the first step of acknowledgement. Only then does it whisper louder. Only then do the cracks widen. Only then do you begin to see that the line between 3D and higher dimensions was never as solid as you imagined. Here is the moment where the threads come together. The signs, the mysteries, the strange clues. They all point toward one central truth. You are not who you think you are. For your entire life, you have been taught to see yourself as a body moving through space, a personality shaped by memories, and a mind defined by thoughts. You were told you are a product of biology and chance, an individual moving from birth to death in a linear line of time. But this is the illusion of the third dimension. It is a surface-level identity, a mask. The deeper truth is far greater. You are a multidimensional being, already existing in layers of reality beyond what your senses can detect. Think of yourself as an iceberg. The part visible above the waterline is your 3D identity, your body, your name, your story. But beneath the surface lies a vast and hidden structure. Your higher mind, your soul, your eternal essence that stretches across dimensions. Most people mistake themselves for the tip of the iceberg. They never realize that 90% of who they are is invisible, operating from realms beyond the physical. Philosophers and mystics have been telling us this for millennia. Plato spoke of the visible world as a shadow of the true world of forms, eternal, unchanging patterns beyond space and time. Hindu philosophy teaches that Atman, the soul, is not bound to physical incarnation, but is a spark of Brahman, the infinite consciousness. The Sufi mystics wrote that the human being is a mirror, reflecting both the material and the divine. And modern science, though cautious, points in the same direction. Consciousness may not be produced by the brain at all, but may exist as a field, something non-local, something interwoven with the very fabric of reality. Now imagine what this means. If you are truly multidimensional, then the story of your life is not confined to linear time. What you call past lives may be parallel dimensions, different expressions of your soul unfolding simultaneously. What you call intuition may be the voice of your higher self, a part of you that sees across timelines. What you call manifestation may not be wishful thinking, but the natural ability of consciousness to shape probabilities at a higher level of reality. This is why synchronicities feel so uncanny. They are not accidents, but alignments engineered by the multi-dimensional self. This is why dreams can predict or guide, because part of your awareness never left the higher realms and sends back information. This is why spiritual awakening feels like remembering, because you are not becoming something new. You are uncovering what you already are. The illusion of being just human is the training ground. The density of 3D exists so you can learn choice, growth, and consequence in their sharpest form. Pain teaches, love awakens, time gives perspective. But you were never meant to be trapped here. You came from beyond, and you will return beyond. The physical dimension is your classroom, not your prison. The greatest misunderstanding of humanity is that people believe they are separate from each other, separate from the universe, separate from God. But in higher dimensions, separation dissolves. You are the wave that forgets it is part of the ocean. You are the dreamer lost in the dream. You are the fragment of infinite consciousness pretending to be small. Here is the liberation. Once you recognize yourself as multidimensional, the rules change. you begin to live differently. You no longer see challenges as punishments, but as lessons designed by your higher self. You no longer view death as an end, but as a transition. You no longer chase meaning outside yourself, because you realize you are the meaning. And here lies the secret. You do not need to travel anywhere to access higher dimensions. You are already in them. Right now, as you hear these words, part of your consciousness is stretched across multiple levels of reality. Some of it is experiencing 3D Earth. Some of it is weaving through realms of thought, archetype, and dream. Some of it is merged with the infinite. You are not becoming multidimensional. You are remembering that you always have been. When you understand this, fear begins to dissolve. Fear of the unknown, fear of death, fear of failure. These belong to the 3D illusion. But your higher self knows that nothing is ever lost, that every moment is woven into a greater design, that you are both the character in the play and the author writing the script. And this is the truth hidden in every mystical teaching, every sacred text, every whisper of the soul. You are not just living in higher dimensions. You are the higher dimensions, temporarily experiencing life in 3D. Up to this point, we have explored the hidden layers of reality. Now let's focus on your life, the subtle clues that reveal you are already living beyond 3D reality. Perhaps you notice synchronicities, moments when events perfectly align with your thoughts, as if reality responds directly to you. Time may feel distorted, flowing strangely, stretching or collapsing, hinting that consciousness is not bound to linear sequences. Dreams can feel vivid and meaningful, offering guidance or glimpses into hidden truths. Your intuition may steer you toward choices that defy logic, yet prove correct, revealing the higher dimensional self guiding your path. You may feel energy in spaces or around people, sensing invisible currents that connect everything. A sense of longing or discomfort with ordinary societal norms often signals that part of you is awake to higher realities. Moments of profound unity, interconnectedness, or subtle guidance hint that unseen forces orchestrate life beyond the 3D veil. Deep down, you may sense your existence extends beyond this life, that you are more than your body or timeline. Recognizing these signs brings clarity. The extraordinary is woven into your life, and awareness itself opens the door to experiencing higher dimensions more fully. So what can you do with this knowledge? Not to escape this world, not to deny the body or the senses or the responsibilities of this life, but to live with greater awareness, to see the invisible threads connecting events, to treat your thoughts as forces, your emotions as messengers, and your choices as vibrations echoing across dimensions. Living beyond 3D reality is not about abandoning Earth. It is about realizing Earth itself is nested inside a larger multidimensional field. And you are not separate from it. You are it. So here we are. You believed you were a traveler wandering through a 3-dimensional world. But all along, you were a citizen of infinite dimensions, wearing the mask of 3D just long enough to learn what it feels like to be limited. And the moment you awaken to this truth, the prison door disappears. Because it was never there. You are already more than 3-dimensional. You always have been. And the signs are everywhere, waiting for you to notice.